Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I hope everybody's having a great Labor Day weekend. And if you're watching me live, thank you for stopping in today. I really appreciate you tuning in to catch Want the Right Dog, Ask the Right Questions, So Many Choices, Part 2. There's a lot that we had talked about the last So Many Choices live cast. We talked a lot about what type of traits we want our dog to have, all the way from the fur to the personality to looking at our lifestyle and to pick a dog that goes well within that lifestyle. So hopefully you guys have made some lists if you're looking at getting a puppy or a dog, and hopefully that last live cast helped you out. So today what we're going to do is we're going to ask the question when it comes to choices. Do we want a puppy or do we want an older dog? Good question. So let's look at puppies first. Oh, puppies. Puppy breath, big eyes, soft fur. They look so cute when they snuggle up. But yeah, they're also constant leak on one end and sharky teeth on the other. So let's take a look at the advantages and some of the things we want to look at that could be a little bit of a challenge when we get a puppy. So most of the time when you're going to get a puppy, you're looking at getting a puppy from a breeder. So I'm not going to go too far into choosing a breeder or choosing a rescue when we talk about older dogs and such. I'm going to have a couple of links that are going to be in the comments so that you'll be able to take a look and read up on that. I found a couple of good articles. But in general, when you're looking for a breeder to get a puppy, then you want to do a lot of research. You want to ask a lot of questions of the breeder, and chances are the breeder will ask almost as many, if not more, questions of you, because they want to make sure that you're going to get the right puppy for your family. So ask lots of questions, do your research on a breeder. A breeder should be looking at not only a sound body and the look and the conformation of a puppy, but also on the temperament of the puppy. And they're going to know enough about their puppies that they're going to be able to talk to you and help you choose a puppy that's going to fit in with your lifestyle. Some may even suggest that this particular breed may not necessarily be for you, which is a very fair and very honest thing for them to do, which is great. So another thing you want to look at with the breeder is you want to be able to go and look at your puppy's surroundings. Where is that puppy being raised right now? Meet Mama. You definitely want to meet Mama and see what type of a personality Mama has. And even better, if you can meet Daddy too, that'd be great. But you should be able to meet Mama, and you should be able to see where the puppies are being raised. Another thing you want to ask the breeder is maybe like, what do they do when up to this point with the puppy? Have they exposed the puppy safely to different people, to different places? What have they done to help socialize that puppy in the first 8 weeks of their life? Because that's important. All of these things are very important for choosing a puppy, because puppies will take on some of the personality traits of their mama. And so when you see the mama and you see what type of a dog mama is, that can be a fairly good indicator of the personality of your puppy. If mama seems calm and the surroundings are comfortable, then she's been very well taken care of while she's been pregnant. And that's important, because puppies that come from stressed mamas can sometimes be stressed puppies too. So taking a look at all of this is going to be giving you a really good idea of how your puppy will be when they're fully grown. There's so much that goes into it, and so much of it is on our part, but a good breeder will make sure that they're going to give you all of the best paws forward to make sure that the puppy that you bring home is going to grow up to be a well-developed dog. Another thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you don't bring your puppy home before 8 weeks. Typically 8 to 10 weeks is a good time for them to spend with their mama and with their litter so that they learn. There's a lot of things that mama's going to teach them, and there's a lot of things that the other puppies are going to teach them. And so if they can stay in that group for 8 to 10 weeks, that's going to help them get that first part of their learning under their collar, and that's going to help too. So one thing with picking up a puppy from a breeder, a red flag might be that the breeder might want to meet you in a parking lot or away from the place where the puppy was raised. Now sometimes because of travel or things like that, that might be something that is going to happen. You've done your research, you've talked to other people maybe that have got puppies from this breeder, and you've seen pictures online and you've talked to them and they've talked to you and you get a really good feeling about it. Well, that can be a fair thing to be able to have to meet them someplace in the middle. But in general, you want to make sure that the breeder is welcoming you into their home so that you can see everything you need to see to find out about that puppy before you get started. Breeders will usually have you sign a contract for your puppy, and that's a good thing. They're going to ask you lots of questions. They're going to go over their contract. The contract might even include some spay or neuter clauses. It may even include a clause that states that if for whatever reason you can't keep the puppy, that you get a hold of the breeder first. So these are all things that show that a breeder is really, really committed to the puppies that they are giving to you to adopt. Another thing that I feel is a trait of a good breeder is they're always going to be there for you if you need something. You're going to be able to reach out and you're going to be able to ask them questions, breed-specific questions, training questions, feeding questions, all kinds of questions. And that breeder is always going to be there for you. Another thing that I feel is a really good quality of a breeder is when they suggest training to you, they're suggesting positive reinforcement force-free training rather than suggesting methods or equipment that could possibly be intimidating or cause fear or pain to your dog and puppy. So those are some things just in general to look at when you go and do your research about a breeder. I have Luna in here right now. So that's the breeder side of things. The other side of things is you and your home. Are you prepared for the time and the energy and everything that goes into raising this puppy? They take a lot of time with training, house training, potty training, basic manners. Fitting into your home, I guess, is a good way to look at it. So with a puppy, you're going to have a lot of time and energy and sleepless nights once in a while and just getting your puppy up to speed in your home. So there's a lot there for that. You want to make sure that you're going to have the time to get your puppy out there and have them socialize. This is done very specifically in a safe way. And when you bring your puppy home, you're probably going to want to find a good puppy social, a good force-free training puppy class that you can go to. And during that time, you're going to learn how to successfully socialize your puppy. So socializing doesn't mean just playing with other puppies. It means learning new or being exposed safely to new sights, new sounds, new smells, new people, all kinds of different things. And when you go to puppy class, you'll learn about that, and you'll learn about how to guide them safely throughout their socialization period. The first 4 months is very important. Most puppies are like little sponges, and they're going to soak up all of these different experiences. And if they're presented in a positive way, as they get older, the new experiences come easier to them because they've been exposed to it when they're young. So that does take a lot of time. Making sure that you have your home puppy-proofed so that when you bring your puppy home, the puppy is going to be safe and is not going to be getting into things, and is going to be introduced to your home slowly and gradually. So having everything that you need, having a routine, bringing your puppy home, it takes a lot of time and a lot of patience. I'm just looking at my notes here. So that's a little bit on the good and the challenges of bringing home a puppy. You usually have a puppy that you're going to be able to bring in, and they're going to be able to fit into your home because you're going to guide them through carefully. You've brought them home from a quality breeder. They're going to be there for you so that whenever you have any questions, you can reach out. You're going to find a good force-free trainer that's got puppy classes that can help guide you along. So there's going to be all of these really good things that you're going to get into place and you're going to research before you bring your puppy home. So that's puppies. What about dogs? Let's take a look at bringing home an older dog. So when you bring home an older dog from a shelter or a rescue, it's still going to take a lot of time and a lot of patience, but you're going to have some of the challenges. There might not be some of the challenges that you have with puppies, bringing home an older dog. A quality rescue or shelter is going to have the dog long enough to be able to guide you again into finding the dog that's going to fit best with your family. They're going to ask you lots of questions, and you're going to ask them a lot of questions. You're going to have a good dialogue. Again, you want to do your research so that you know that this is going to be a good reputable rescue or a shelter. And they're going to be able to speak very intelligently to the dog that you are looking at adopting and be able to tell you if there's any challenges that they may have, any extra training that they may need. Because while puppies have a tendency to be generally clean slates as long as mama has been well taken care of during pregnancy and during the first stages of life, sometimes with older dogs, we don't know their learning history and we don't know what's in their background. So we have to be sometimes prepared to take a little bit more time with the older dogs and guide them slower into our daily life. So, for example, there's a little adage called 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. And so what that means is that when you first bring an older dog home, as much as we want to show them to the world, introduce them to our extended family, show them off to the neighbors, introduce them to the dog park and all the dogs there, the best thing we can do for an older dog is to bring them into our home, give them a comfy spot that they can relax in, and let them kind of just ease into our home. The first 3 days should be as uneventful and as quiet as possible, with as few people in and out, and as little activity as necessary. Obviously, you're going to take your cues from your dog. You might take them for short walks during quiet times or not. At the first 3 days, maybe they don't need to go for a walk. Maybe just a little playing in the backyard, letting them relax, seeing what they're all about, letting them kind of get used to the home is really important. In the 3 weeks after that, they start you introduce them to more of the home. You might introduce them to extended family within the home. You might take them on a little bit longer walks during quiet times of the day. Again, we're easing the dog into our lifestyle and seeing how they react to things, because sometimes they may have reactions to things that we're not expecting. And when that happens, we have to know how to back up, make them feel safe, and guide them through that. Again, when you bring even an older dog home, it's really important to reach out to a force-free positive reinforcement trainer so that they can help you and guide you through these first stages, and just to have a relationship with them in case something unexpected would come up. In 3 months, you're getting to really know exactly who your dog is. Their personalities have come out, and not that there won't be other things that are going to come out down the road, but for the most part, you're going to get a pretty good idea of the dog that you brought into your home and how they're fitting in and what you need to do to help guide them along. I always like to look at the 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months thought process as kind of like us. When you go into a new job, you're going to be on your best behavior, right? You know, you're not going to be, if you're kind of more of an extroverted, happy-go-lucky person, chances are you might just keep it a little closer to the vest, and you're going to learn your job, and you're going to be kind of wanting to be in the background a bit and just kind of take everything in. You're not going to be wandering around the building looking at everything, introducing yourself to everybody, because you're going to feel just a little bit tentative for a while. And then as you get to know your job, and as you get to know the building, and you get to know the people, then your true personality comes out, and the people that you work with start to understand who you are. And that's kind of the same thing with our dogs, is we want to make sure that we introduce them and we take our time with adult dogs. Puppies are a little bit of a different story. Puppies we want to get out there and introduce into the environment, into the world safely as soon as we can. And that will mean introducing them to things in a way that keeps them at a far enough distance where they're curious and they can look at the world and go, huh, what's that all about? And make the choices to go check it out. But with an older dog, we still want to have that same thought process where we want to keep them far away from things to let them be curious so that they can go and have the choice to explore. But at first, we want to make sure that they understand that this is where their home is and let them ease into it more so. You know, that way if we have anything that comes up, hopefully the trigger isn't going to be too extreme and the reaction that the dog has won't be too extreme, and then it's something we can take note of, reach out to a trainer, reach out to the rescue and shelter and say, hey, you know, I'm noticing this, what should we do? So, little saying, if you're taking it slow, you feel like you're taking it slow, slow down even more. We're looking at this as a crock pot, not a microwave oven. So introducing a dog slowly into your family and into the world when you first bring them home is okay. So we have time and patience and training on both sides of the spectrum, with puppies and with dogs. So we've kind of talked a little bit about both of those things. And but one thing I do want to put out there to you is, regardless of whether you get a puppy or whether you get a dog, really do your research wherever you do get your dog from. If you get an older dog or even puppies from a shelter or rescue, do your research and make sure that you feel comfortable adopting a dog or a puppy from there. Also, same thing with the breeder. Do your research, ask lots of questions, and feel comfortable with the breeder that you're getting your puppy from. The one thing that I want to caution about is buying a puppy or a dog from a pet store. Going back again to learning histories in older dogs, or getting the best start for a puppy with a mother that's well taken care of and isn't under stress, is able to stay with her litter and her mama long enough. You can't guarantee these things when you get a dog from a pet store. Most pets, not all, but most pet stores usually get their dogs from some sort of breeding facility. And we don't always know what goes on, and we can't always get really good information about those facilities if we're purchasing a dog from a pet store. Also, depending on how the pet store is set up, the puppies and the dogs may not be getting the socialization that they need and the stimulation that they need, and the interactions that they need to really bring them into a family unit without some sort of baggage coming along with it. So in order to stem the flow of puppies that come from places that are less than ideal, we want to make sure that we don't support pet store purchases as much as we can. And I know that can be really, really hard. That's why I want to bring it out now, because when you walk into a place like that, it's hard when you see those puppies. The other thing that I like to kind of caution against is, really do your research if you're thinking of going and doing an off-the-truck adoption. Off-the-truck adoptions, or like when they transport up and you get your dog right away, those can sometimes be a little interesting because the dogs coming off of the vans, off of the trucks, right off of transport are very stressed and can be very shut down. It's hard to know the personalities of the dogs, even remotely, for the most part, on some of these things. So you want to make sure that you're always doing your research and always asking questions and always looking forward and saying, how is this dog or puppy? What has been their environment? What is their environment? What possible baggage could they be bringing up? How well have they been taken care of? So many things go into it. So the more known you can be about where they come from, the better it will be for the dog and for you. There's always going to be things that come up. There's always going to be behaviors that may surprise you. And that's where trainers like myself, Force Free Trainers of Wisconsin, Pet Professionals Guild, that's where we come in. We come in to help guide you through all of these little interesting things that may come up. So if you've done your research and you feel comfortable with your breeder, you feel comfortable with your rescue, then you look back at your list of traits and personalities, and then you can go and you can look and find, whatever the puppy or the dog that's going to fit well into your home. But just really do your research and really be prepared. I will be having a couple of links, as I mentioned, one on some guidelines to picking a good shelter and rescue, and some guidelines to picking a reputable breeder that you'll be able to access after I finish this live. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you're all having a great rest of your Labor Day weekend, and we will see you here next week for some more Want the Right Dog, Ask the Right Questions. Take care. Bye.